Let's cut straight to the chase. You've been basically lied to, or at the very least misled about nutrition for like your entire life, which sounds crazy. It sounds like a conspiracy. It sounds like I'm like giving some insane conspiracy theory about like how the earth is flat, but I'm telling you the truth. We have been misled about what is healthy and what is not, and I'm not sure what the reason is. I could say it's for some government agenda, but like that sounds kind of stupid to me. So I'm just gonna say it's because of misinformation. So the biggest misleading in the medical nutritional space is this idea of the food pyramid. Before we get into that, my name is Ishan. I help people get out of the mental masturbation phase of self improvement and get into like actual self improvement. So like, if you're tired of mentally masturbating, then click the first link in the description. Anyway, what is the food pyramid exactly? The food pyramid, a lot of you may know this because it's basically been fed to us ever since we were in the education system, or even before that, probably. I just remember, like, I was in elementary school, like, possibly even, like, first grade or something, and we were being taught the food pyramid. And basically what the food pyramid is like a hierarchy of how often you should eat food. So foods at the bottom of the pyramid should be eaten the most often. They should be the staple of your diet. And foods at the top of the pyramid have to be treats. They have to be rare things you eat. So basically, I remember, if I'm like reciting this properly, obviously you can comment and tell me if I'm wrong, but if I remember the food pyramid properly, the base, aka the staple of what you should eat, your main staples of your diet, should be bread, rice, pasta, and oats, and like all those kinds of like grains and carbs and stuff. After that is fruits and vegetables. Then a step above that is nuts, and then a step above that, like almost like at the very top, you can usually just like maybe like once a week or less, is meat and dairy. No, sorry, dairy is one step below that. Then after that is like meat and like fish and stuff, and then one step above that is like, you know, like confectionery goods like cakes and cookies and sugary stuff. So this sounds good at first. Like, I honestly believed this shit for so long because it makes sense that, like, because, you know, especially as like an Indian guy where like the main staple of your diet is rice, it's like, oh yeah, my mom knows the food pyramid. Of course that's why she's making us eat like this, because she knows it's healthy. She's a doctor. But that's not exactly the food pyramid. That's not accurate, because there's been this very big and very prominent villainization of meat, and especially red meat, for the past decades. It's almost like the same way. It's basically the same way the sugar industry. No, am I saying it right? It's basically the same way that people were convinced smoking is good. That's the same way I believe people were convinced that red meat is bad. And there's actually like studies to show that maybe the hate on red meat and dairy and fat in general started because of the smoking industry, because obviously like smoking is causing like all these problems, and then the smoking industries wanted to point out some culprit, some scapegoat, and my theory is that they pointed out the meat industry. But like, you don't have to believe me on that. This is like kind of just a conspiracy that I have, which you don't have to believe at all whatsoever. Anyway, aside from conspiracies, there are so many studies showing that red meat isn't even bad for you. All the studies that, you know, like all these like big sites have like shown that say that red meat causes colon cancer, it's like causes indigestion, it's like bad for your heart and all this stuff. Those are all studies for processed meat. How crazy is that? Everything we've been told about red meat, everything we've been told that's bad about red meat, is from processed meat. No one is talking about like ribeye steaks or like ground beef. Those are not what the studies are about. The studies are about processed meats like pepperonis and salamis and like sausages and, you know, bacon. Like, obviously, like, I believe that those things aren't good for you. I'm not saying you can never have bacon ever again, but I'm saying that like these processed red meats should not be a staple of your diet. But no one says that red meat itself can't. There's not a single study that's like actually credible that can show that unprocessed red meat can cause like colon cancer or like heart problems or high cholesterol or like all these things that are actually in reality tied to processed red meat. And why exactly are we not aware of this? Because shouldn't the news headlines be saying processed red meat is bad, not red meat is bad? I just don't think it's as profitable to say that red meat is bad for you. I mean, to say that just processed red meat is bad for you. It's more profitable to say that ignore red meat, you know, eat it like twice a month, never eat red meat, even though like your ancestors who have survived for millions of years and never seem to show any evidence of the problems that red meat supposedly cause. Even though those ancestors ate red meat probably daily, even though those ancestors killed an entire mammoth and ate just the mammoth for months, even though they never showed any sign of these red meat supposedly caused problems, we're supposed to believe that if we eat red meat as the same species of human, obviously we haven't evolved that much. Like, people want to pretend we've evolved so much over these past like thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. We really haven't. Our digestive systems are exactly the same. We process food exactly the same. Not much has changed at all. Sorry, quick interruption, back now. Anyway, what I was saying is that it makes no logical sense that we were able to process meat, and our ancestors were able to process meat, and especially unprocessed red meat, so well, and then now all of a sudden unprocessed red meat is bad for us? Suddenly the steaks we've been eating for thousands and tens of thousands of years, now it's bad for us? Does that make any sense to you? Even like aside from the studies, which like obviously like I think you're gonna have a hard time finding a credible study that says in specific that unprocessed red meat causes these kinds of problems that are mentioned with red meat nowadays. That itself is hard to find, but even if you found that, like, does it make any sense that red meat was a staple of our human diet for basically years? And then now it's like suddenly it's not? I don't know about you guys, but that makes no sense to me. I'm not exactly just going to change my mind just because some people tell me to, and I don't want to sound like some kind of conspiracy theorist by that statement. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, you can like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that gay shit. If you want more like exclusive and like more in-depth content from me, then you can click the first link in the description, like I said in the beginning of the video. My Instagram is also the second link in the description if you want to follow me there, and as you always know, the hunt ends when you're full.